man, is it warm outside. I got up extremely early today to go do my walk, and it was almost 90 degrees. So I did a little over 2 miles. I didn't do a 5K today. It was too warm. But anyway, it was beautiful. I love this city. We don't have those hurricanes like everybody else. And I'm going to make sure that you all can see me because... come on, let's see here. Can you see me? Yes. Okay, good. For some reason, it's not showing up in my little square, but as long as you can see me, I don't care if I can see me. Okay, everybody. What's going on today? Let me put myself down here. Oh, gosh, I don't know why it does that opposite. There's no rhyme or reason to when it does what it does. Okay, so here we go. 22 days of inventory. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love 22 days of inventory. We edged up a little bit, 22, I think yesterday we were at 21 point something. And so we have 109 that we listed yesterday. We put 121 under contract. So, and we closed 81. Now, of the listings that we took yesterday, only 38 were single family homes under 400,000. We like that number to be a little bit more because if we're putting 121 under contract, and we just only got 38 new single family homes. Let's see, we put 90 single family homes under contract, and we just listed 38. So we're not really replacing the inventory, which hopefully tomorrow that will change and over the weekend. So we shall see. We're still early in the month. 908 of the single family homes that are available are under 400,000. So that's a good thing, right? That's good. We have sold 506 homes so far this month. That's an average of 84 a day. And that will probably increase. As you can see, in June, we did 148 a day. So as the closings come in throughout the month, that number does increase. One interesting thing with our $1 million homes, we're selling almost 4.5 new $1 million homes a day. I have to say that right. And last year we were just selling not quite 2. So we're selling 4.5 now. And so that's more than double than what we were doing last year. So that's the run rate. And you will see more and more of those go on. And with the low interest rates, we have more buyers. Unfortunately, they're inching up. They're fluctuating a little bit, but a lot of our first-time home buyers are getting frustrated. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Maybe not today, but this week. I want to let everybody know that today we are going to segue into a tip on some of the things that you can do to get more listings. Now, these interlopers are around. And I did this little chart just to show you like what's going on this year. Hold on. Let me get it up here. Show this and hide this. Okay. Let me see if I can put myself. Nope. I don't know. It doesn't matter which one I do. It does it differently. Okay. So what I did is I took last year's stats. And last year, the interlopers were number 1, 2, and 3. And this year, the interlopers are 1, 2, and 3. The difference is year to date. Year to date, last year, there were 1,457. You know what? I switched those numbers. Can you believe it? That's what happens when you're in a hurry. 1,457 last year versus 1,180. But they're reversed. 1,457 this year, 1,180 last year. I'm so sorry for that. But we do make mistakes sometimes. But the point is that last year, we didn't have as many listings and sales as we do this year. So just have to kind of avoid that number. I could fix it real quick, but I'll fix it when I post it. So anyway, my point was today, look at the solds on Zillow. There's a reason for that. They're buying homes. And last year, Zillow was listing more homes This year, they're buying more homes, and they are doing massive acquisitions across the United States. And they're on a buy and hold. They're not flipping them. They're holding them and they're renting them. They're going in for the long game. And I believe this is a strategy that they started doing some time ago, but now they're really putting it in full gear. They are buying homes like crazy. They are offering, I think we had a listing for $350 and they bought it for $375, no questions asked, nothing in the inspection, nothing. And the only problem was they didn't close on time, and they kept extending it one week after another week. I did a little bit of research on that, so if anybody is doing that, they are churning a lot of money. And so if this particular LLC that's buying this home, for instance, has to wait for some more money to come in from someplace else, then they extend the closing date. So just so you know, that's if you're going to accept one of Zillow's offers of one of your properties, just know maybe that it might not close timely. So I'm just giving you a heads up so that you manage the expectations of your sellers that are selling to Zillow. Now, fortunately, the one that we sold was vacant. And because the tenant had moved out of it, we have a Canadian investor that's letting go of all of his properties because of all the equity he has, because he bought them back in 2008 at rock bottom prices. So he's made some handsome profits, over 300-400% on some of his properties. So I don't blame him for selling, and he's not ready to jump back into the market right now. So he's selling and not replacing. But anyway, the point being, just be careful if you're accepting a Zillow offer that you prepare your seller that it might not close on time. So because and maybe that I don't think Zillow would accept a penalty for extending the closing. They might, though. It depends. It depends how much they're willing to pay over the asking price as to whether or not they'll pay money on the back end if they want to extend it. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're paying $25,000 over when you buy the property, you might not want to pay a penalty of $100 a day or whatever for extending the closing. But they might be negligible to them because they're really looking for the money to finish the close, and that's what we're seeing. So that's what's going on there. Just be careful. And I'm sorry I mixed up the numbers. I'll fix that, though, before I post it. I was in a hurry. What can I say? Okay, so now what are we going to talk about? Well, today, I talk about winning the day all the time. Win the day, win the day, win the week, win the month, win the year. And, if you set yourself up with a schedule and you stick to it, you know what? And you said, I said I was going to do it, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. That's a dopamine rush in your head. I know when I get up every morning and I do my run and I say, I did it, even when I don't want to do it. And I know when you say you're going to call 5 people a day and you don't do it and you go back, because there's something else you find to do, right? Even though it's not what you should do, you should make your calls. But when you finally do these things and you finally get into the rhythm and feel that dopamine rush, you want that feeling again. And that's why so many successful people just keep on being successful and more successful, because they love the feeling and they love helping people, and it helps you. And so I said I was going to do it, and I did it. I did it 5 days a week. I want that feeling. A powerful morning routine is making those calls and or texting people, whatever. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And you'll feel so good. So let's look at this. Just look at this for a second. Okay. Let's say that you want to make $240,000 a year. There is a way to figure that out. Jimmy's here. Oh my gosh, my heavens, Jimmy's here. Oh my gosh, Jimmy. Are you a sight for sore eyes? Oh, what a great day, everybody. Way to go, Jimmy.
9:30. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I'm happy you're here.
Thank you.
I was just talking about, when you say that you're going to do X amount of calls a day or what you're going to do, and you do it and you do it and you do it, you get a dopamine rush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you accomplished it. And that's why the top producers like Aaron Taylor, for instance, I can see he's got a rush, right? I mean, you can just feel it. He knows he's doing what he should do and it's working. Yeah. And that's a powerful morning routine to do, is to get into, like I was telling them, I do my run every day because, I mean, it feels so good. It doesn't always feel good when I get up, but man, when I'm done, I feel so fantastic.
Right. It's what McRaven talked about, making your bed. It's the small win, and I wouldn't consider a run a small win, but making your calls, like you said, it's just that accomplishment. It's awesome.
So here's I have a great formula for everybody, and if you want to make $240,000 a year, okay, let's say that's 24 transactions. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you take your transaction goal of 24, you multiply that by the static number 50, and that means you have to make 1,200 conversations. And if you divide that by 10 months, because we like to think that, we get 2 months, you're not big, for 60 days, you're not going to make those. So that's 120 conversations a month, or 6 conversations a day. Mm-hmm. If you break it down like that, then you will make your 1,200 conversations. Now, they can be phone calls, it can be knocking on doors, whatever it is. Conversations can be different things, but a half of those should be to your database. And, like Tom Ferry will tell you, if you just start texting, video texting people, that's reaching out to them. That's a conversation, because they're going to come back and say, oh, thank you so much, Jimmy. Good to hear from you. And that becomes a conversation. And then do the other 1/2 outside your database. So now what do you do when you're creating a relationship outside your database? Now you have somebody to add to your database. Mm-hmm. So it has that perpetual effect. So what do you think of the formula?
Well, the conversations with your database might give you some of the people outside your database.
Exactly.
So they may have a referral for you, or they may have, what, you should call this person. I think they're thinking about doing this or doing that or whatever. Or gee, I need some tires, or I need some whatever. Call this guy. He's really good.
Yeah.
So that creates a call. And I know that Hannah and Michael in our Buffini group did an open house the other day, and I think they had 5 people come in, and one of them's thinking of selling their house. So they're really jazzed about that. Oh, but that was 5 conversations they had that day just from that one activity, just from the open house. They were there 3 hours. But now, while they're there, obviously they can call through their database too. So they can do work while they're there because they back each other up. But they got 5 conversations outside their database just by putting up some signs and being on an open house.
Isn't that fantastic? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that is really cool. I love to hear the success stories. We all do. And they're new agents. How long has Hannah been in business?
Less than a year. This is her first year in the business, but it's been less than a year.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And Michael, same thing. And they paid the money to go to Buffini and learn how to do it right. That's what I respect.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Wi-Fi isn't set up for help.
But the formula is excellent. It's a very manageable number. And it even tells you half to your database and half out. 3 calls to your database and 3 calls outside your database. That's a very doable number. That's a great piece.
Yeah. And it can be conversations too. I mean, a lot of people don't answer the phone, but you can pop by. A pop by is a conversation in your database.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's how you accomplish. I mean, this is a statistic, from people who do this. And I think Tom Ferry is the one that put this together. So kudos to Tom for doing that. He's good at, Tom Ferry and Buffini, they play off of each other a little bit, but they each have their own style and they each have their own methodology. So I like to combine them.
Well, one of the things I like about this is it's 20 days a month. It's not 30 days. So you're getting 2 days off. That's 5 days a week. It's not 7 days a week. You're not working every single day.
Exactly. And that gives you time for your other things that you do, your appointments and so on and so forth. So I was going to give everybody a bonus tip today. So, Jimmy, I think that some of these things we can add to our be the CEO of your life, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, this piece for sure is a good one.
It's a
It's
good
a
one.
good poster to put in there.
Yes. And I was kind of ranting about people. We have control of our inventory if we just go to work. And I have 7 listing strategies that I have gleaned from different sources that I think we should add to our Be the CEO of Your Life. And I was going to share one with everybody today to reach out to or to do. So let me put that up here. I'm going to reduce this, and you're probably going to, this is probably going to go on your side. Yep. Okay. This is from Tom Ferry. There are 25 referral sites. You know, you've got, I question Zillow, though. I don't know that I would want to join the Zillow referral list. But every one of these you can join as an agent because these people advertise. And so they may just give you a listing or a sale, right? And you have to pay a referral fee. And, you know, Tom Ferry is very big into the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to be giving these types of sites a percentage for our business. And one of the things that he said on his show where I got this from, he said that there was a gal who had sold a couple, 6 homes in 20 years.
Wow.
And they get a phone call one day and they said, oh, we went on HomeLight and we are going to list our home, but you weren't there.
Wow.
So I'm just thinking, and Tom Ferry's saying, y'all need to join these sites. Get your name and your picture and your little bio up there. And you can't fight City Hall. This is happening. I mean, if I see one more Ideal Agent ad on TV, and I only watch, you know, the news at night, maybe for half hour, I see at least one Ideal Agent ad with a testimonial and saying, you know, they only charge you 2%. And the guy's saying, yes, and it was the smoothest transaction that I've ever had. And I bought and sold several homes in my life. And he's an older man, so you believe him. And I'm sure he's telling the truth. So if you're not on these lists, you're not going to get, you know, you're not going to get the opportunity to get some referrals from these sites. And yes, you have to pay a fee, but it's what's happening. What do you think?
I disagree with you.
Oh, I like that.
Because if I have to take it at 2% and pay a referral fee out, I would rather not have the lead. I'd rather not have it. I'd rather go out and get my own leads. I'd rather go work. I'm going to miss some. Yes, I'm going to miss some. But the ones I'm missing, they're not my clients. They wouldn't be on HomeLight if they're my clients. They've bought 6 houses. They're going to get some of my leads. But for me to take 50% of what I make right now, because you take 2% instead of 3%, and then you pay them a referral fee on the 2%, I'm not doing it. I'm not going on Zillow. I'm not going on HomeLight. I'm not.
Well, that's great. It's good when we disagree because then people, you know, you can do whatever you want. So
there's a team in my office that their goal is 40 families. They 40 families. That's their goal. And they're not going on any of these sites and they get calls all the time. Advertise here, market here, do that. No, we're going for 40 families in our database, in our sphere of influence. That's where they're going to hit their 40 for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're working toward that, I mean, we just gave you one formula, and you know, Buffini has a formula. There's so many formulas out there, and they all start with W.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
You got to do the work. So here's something else you can do. Let's say that you don't want to do this, like Jimmy doesn't want to do this. Y'all need to start reaching out to agents in other cities. And there is a site, and I think it's called Walking Steps. And it will tell you where people are coming from into Las Vegas. And so you should reach out to the agents in those places and tell them you'll pay them a referral fee for business.
I don't have any problem with that. I'm happy to pay another agent for a referral. In fact, I say I pay top referrals. I don't tell them what my percentage is because it depends on how expensive the home is.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are the things. And And all you have to do is like do 3 or 4 a day, just like the conversation thing. So you did 6 conversations, and now you're going to send 6 messages to agents in other cities and reaching out to them for referrals. And there's things like maybe one of our shows, or maybe something that one of our shows, let's just say one of our shows, and you say, oh, and by the way, here's a Jimmy Dig and Ruthie Rock show that gives you some tips that might help you in your market.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not just asking for something, you're giving something as well.
Right.
So even today's show, we talked about the conversations, we talked about the referral sites, we talked about referrals to those agents, and that's something. And then maybe you reach out to have them. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
Well, we have the class, the CEO class.
Yes.
And that's very integral, very much integrity, because it talks about just not through your business, but it answers a question: how much do you want to make? How many transactions does that take? And how are you going to get them? So they walk away with the formula. And that part of my point was this: it took me a long time to get here. We're going to Zoom the class, correct?
Yes.
So we have it recorded, correct?
Yes.
So if we pulled out 20 minutes or 30 minutes, this is the highlights from this class, and made that available on your site,
yes,
Ruthie Rocks, and say, look, here's a 20-minute clip of a 3-hour CE class we did. This is the nuts and bolts, and send that out. So instead of watching the whole show, this is the best one. Tim Ferriss does short segments of his podcast, 5 or 6 pages. Instead of a 30-minute podcast, it's 6 pages. You can read it in 2 minutes, but it's inspiring. So if we have Kane edit out a 20-minute piece from the class, 15 minutes of you and I, and 5 minutes of you and 5 minutes of me, or whatever, however we want to set it up, and package that one piece, because that class has got a lot of content. It's more than just setting a goal.
I know. I have another thing. It's let's see. We have 5 minutes. I gotta tell you something else, and maybe you already know this. I want you let me know if you know this. So if we're looking to get more inventory and we're looking for listings, what if you farmed, got your title company, or used Remind, which I'm going to learn Remind. It'll probably take me a couple hours, but I will know it enough to be able to tell people how to do what I'm going to tell you to do. If you don't want to get your title company, do it. Find people that have been in their house 20 years and send something out to them, because they're probably going to want to downsize. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah. If the message said happy anniversary, this month you've been in your house 20 years. You could target it month by month, and happy anniversary, you've been in your house 20 years. Well, this is interesting. This real estate agent knows I've been in my house 20 years. I didn't even realize that.
And has COVID changed the way you think about your home? And are you thinking of perhaps downsizing, or moving out of Las Vegas, or whatever, moving closer to your children, or, whatever the message is. But I think that's just a really brilliant idea.
And they call it blue ocean strategy. You're fishing in an ocean that not everybody's in. Right. That's a very specific message, a very specific target, and that's part of what makes it good.
Yes. Yeah. So I just think that's I think that's a bonus tip for today.
Very good. That's a good one. And that's your 3 strangers. You probably send out 10 notes a day like that.
Gosh, yeah. Amazing. And also, to that point that you just said, the direct mail conversion rate, if you handwrite the name, is 4% of 1,000. So that's, or let's say 100, that's 4. Mm-hmm. So if you write 100 personal notes and you handwrite them, or even a letter with information like, oh, happy anniversary, you've been in your home 20 years, just like you said, something like that. The stats say the conversion rate is 4%. I think that's incredible. And the thing they don't tell you, though, when I found that stat, is how many times you have to do those 100. And I think that's the missing component of the formula, because I don't think you're just going to send out 100 and get 4. I think you're going to have to send, keep up with those 100 for, what do we say, 6 to 9 months before you get the 4%, maybe. But even so, it's 4 listings.
Well, if your piece is good enough, if they're interested, they're going to call you. So I think I would expect some result from my first mailing. I would expect something.
because
When you
nobody's
don't
doing
expect
that.
anything and you don't get anything, then you're not disappointed, and that's fine. But I would think if my card is good, if it says happy anniversary and they open it, even if they just call me and say, that was an interesting card, I'm not going to sell my house, but thanks for sending it to me. That's a response.
Yeah. And oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jimmy, I'm so jazzed to have you on the show today. It just blows my mind. I missed you.
Well, thank you. Well, we only have one more Buffini, right? Friday is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to make sure we have all the resources that he's given us and lay them all out for our Buffiniites. And because they paid money for that. And I think they need to be reminded of what they got, because there's a lot. There's a lot.
Oh my gosh. And I've already got people that want to come to September's class. So we'll have to figure out if we haven't already. Kay might already have figured that out. And some of the Buffini people that are in this class want to take the next one. They want to take it again. That's how there's so much information in the what is it, 14 weeks?
Yes. Yeah, it is 14 weeks. And you're going to take it again, and I'm going to take it again.
I know. And I learned something every time. I mean, we've been in this business, over 3 decades, right?
Yep.
And I still learn something every time I repeat something, because there's so much to do in this industry to create a business, build a business, increase your business. It's amazing.
Well, we've talked about this before. If you're not working on your skills, they erode. You have to work on your skills. You got to practice. And that's, if you stop running, guess what? You're not going to be able to keep running. You got to work on the mayor campaign and the chart you showed us today. 3 conversations with my database, 3 conversations with strangers, 3 people I don't know. That's 5 days a week. That's pretty easy to do.
Yep. And that's how we'll close out the show today. And I guess I will see you tomorrow. And we probably need to meet a little bit earlier, because there was so much information in that class. I think we didn't get it all covered.
We didn't. And I'm happy to sit with you now. So it's tomorrow. The Be the CEO is tomorrow at 10 o'clock, right?
Yes.
So I'll be at your office at 9. So I can be on the Facebook show live stream. Okay. And then at 9:30, I'll have a half hour between whether you're on the phone or are you going to do your show from your office tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, so we'll have a half hour. Yeah. We'll work it out.
All right. Okay, everybody. We love you. Have a great day and stay cool.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.